In the last video, we wrapped up the new rear bumper slash cross member. This time we're going to deal with finally lowering the fuel cell down through the floor to get a little bit of storage space back and build a cover for it as well. So what we're doing here is we're getting some pilot holes so we can start with the Sawzall. Sorry, the reciprocating saw. Sawzall's brand name. But we're cutting out the hole in the floor so we can go ahead and drop the fuel cell down through it. We've got the fuel cell shoved aside for the moment. So once we get a initial hole, we'll be able to get underneath there and see a little bit more of where we're at, do some measuring and figure out a more precise cut. So this is our rough cut, just getting the hole started in the floor. I got further.
Now, would you look at that? Would you just look at it?
Somebody put a hole in my floor.
Holy shit. I just soiled myself.
I'm glad I have my
Yeah.
protection.
Thank God you have your hearing protection on. There we go. Won't be needing that, will we?
I've got a lot done on this skid, and I don't think I've recorded any of it. I started this a long time ago. My plans changed a fair amount. It's going to make a little more sense once we get it mounted in the Jeep, but this is where the skid's at. It's time to get some primer on it and some paint, and then again, we'll get it put inside the Jeep. It'll make a little more sense for you. The skid isn't really a skid. I don't ever intend to hit this thing. Where it's positioned on the Jeep, it's pretty darn safe. I'm not saying I can't hit it, but I don't expect to hit it much. Therefore, I just built it out of 1/8" plate. Should be plenty strong for what it's got to do. Skid plate's all painted up, put in place. You can see over here where I notched it for my exhaust hanger. I've got a bolt over there. I've got my 3 bolts across the bottom there, tabs welded to the new bumper, bolt on this side. Should be a bolt here, but for some reason my hole's not lining up. I'll deal with that here in a little bit, but it's in. I've got some foam there, test fitting things. I was originally going to bolt my straps to this plate, but there's a cross member here that I can't get rid of, and I just don't have room. I can't get in there to get that bolt in place, so I'm going to end up bolting to the floor. So skid plates to the frame, mounts are going to be to the floor. The saving grace to that is that my shock hoops are tied into the body back here, so everything really isn't going to move too much independent of one another. I'm going to go ahead and put a whole bunch of foam on my straps just in case there is some movement. But skid plate is way up there out of the way. Again, I don't ever expect to hit it because I've rarely ever hit my bumper as it was before, and I've gained a ton of clearance now, so it should be quite safe way up in there. We built this front plate just to keep stuff from flying up underneath. I didn't leave drain holes in the corners because I know I'm not going to ever seal this permanently because of the gaps on the side of the frame. So we wanted to build this front plate just to keep anything from potentially flying up in and hitting this aluminum fuel cell. So I did have enough gap here, but I'm going to run my fuel lines and my wiring through this gap up along this edge and into the fuel cell. I did get some 90-degree fittings. Not exactly what I wanted, but they were available locally, so that's what I picked up. So get these lines off the tank and get them rerun up through So that's how it sits. Much lower. Actually, I'm going to build this cover across the top so I have some tie downs for all my bags. It's going to be so nice to have a little bit of room to actually store some tools. This bar is just above the back of the seat, so you can see how much space we've gained here. We're going to build a cover. You know, the fittings have to be covered, but still it's going to be a few inches lower than it once was. And I'm going to add some tie down points so we can actually lay some tool bags across here and be a little more secure and not have to carry stuff in the back seat. In order to bend some of the flanges I need, I went ahead and clamped it down on this nice metal bench. And I clamped a piece of angle iron across the top so I have a nice edge to work with. I'm just working it over with a hammer. That's not too bad. I think I'm going to get an actual body hammer and make that a little bit better than a ball peen. We actually have a set of proper body working hammers we got from Harbor Freight. Not real high end, but they do the job. A lot of different options. So we're going to use this because it's flatter than that ball peen. All right, that's a lot better. More than good enough for what we're building. That was a lot of work, but that made a nice bend. Trying to bend as tight to the bend radius as I can. If I push down here, I'm just going to put a crown in the whole thing. So I'm trying to stay tight to it. Just get it at least started. A little tension with the knee. Works better, put a little hand tension in the bottom and just working this edge back and forth. So this flap needs bent back over the one that we flattened earlier because I want to weld that, make this corner nice and strong. Also going to weld a piece here. Get us our step down, Now the big screw up. I folded this seam the wrong way. I really wanted a nice, clean folded edge across the front, but I screwed it up. I don't think I can rebend it and make it neat. I think I'm just gonna have to cut that off and just grind a nice edge there instead of folding a nice edge. But we're almost there. This cover's gonna work out real nice. Gotten this seam all welded up here, ground smooth. I could have done a little better there, but I don't care. This is just covering up the fuel cell. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now we've got this piece cut. It's gonna establish this step. Get a tack back there. So now that I have my fuel pump hanging out down there inside my fuel cell, and you can see my made up holder to hold it up has failed. I have to revisit that here in a minute. But other than that, my current task is I've got the wiring running up and I've just got it squished under the seal. That's not a good solution, so we're going to deal with that today. I've seen this done by other people. We're just taking a normal brake line fitting, found out that it's a M10 by 1 thread pitch. So I found a nut, a regular washer, and a lock washer, and we drilled a hole in the tank. So we're going to put this washer on that. We're going to drop it down through this hole in the tank, and then run the wires up through there and jam some RTV in there. So that will be where my wires now exit the tank instead of squishing them underneath this tank seal. So that's going to be a much better solution. So we're going to go ahead and get the nut on there and get that thing tightened down. We're going to put a little bit of black RTV around the base of this, just because, well, I don't want gas to leak. The point of this whole project is trying to seal this thing up, so do what we can to seal it the best we can. That should work for now. Now we're going to wrestle this lock washer and nut onto the bottom side of this without dropping it in the bottom of the tank. In theory. We'll see how it goes. I'm not confident I'm not going to drop it at least once or twice. Oh yeah, I can actually see the... well, that stinks. I can actually see the RTV squished out around the bottom of that washer, so that's perfect. That's going to seal up real nice. Now that we have our fitting in place, now we can fish these wires up through the hole. Next, we want to get as much of this goop inside this hole with the wires as we can, so we're going to just squeeze a bunch in there and just try to jam it down into the hole. Try to coat both sides of the wires, then we can actually slide the wires down a little bit and hope it pulls the RTV with it. Ah, crap. Now I made a mess. I guess the mess isn't too bad because now we can just goop it on there good. Push it down just a little bit and then just pack this all around it. Leave it alone, let it harden. I didn't get much video of modifying my filler neck either, so this is what I came up with. A couple of the welds I haven't ground, but I don't care. It's all going to be underneath the cover now. So we've added a almost 90 and extended it a few inches. That way it'll peek out from underneath our cover we built. Should be able to just bolt this thing back on and be done with it here. Fuel cell cover is done. So you can see here I've got my socket set sitting on the left, my tool bag on the right. We yank this stuff off of there. It's all very dirty. You can see it covers the cell nicely. A little bit of clearance around the fill neck, but doesn't interfere with socket set living on top. I'm real happy with it. I already scratched it up, made it dirty, but it's in my Jeep. It's supposed to be dirty. So, finished project. Tailgate closes completely. I have just a little bit of gap behind the gate there. I'm real happy with it. I'm glad to finally have this fuel cell covered and have a little bit of storage in the back of the Jeep again. Now that I finally have a place to put my tools, a little more organized, a little more structured, I need a place to tie down my tools. I don't want these things flying around. Worst case, a rollover, a crash. I don't want them flying up, hitting anybody, so they need to be secured. I found these cable clamps, just a normal, I think this is a 5/16 cable clamp. I picked it up at Tractor Supply. So I went ahead and drilled 2 holes. Makes a nice tie down, you know, a nut and a washer on the top, a nut and a washer on the bottom. There's plenty of threads to work with there. It'll sandwich to the tub real nice. Some washers. I haven't tightened it down yet, but that'll make a real nice tie down point. I have this bungee I use. Clips in there real nice and secure. It's gonna be able to go across my tools and at least offer some protection to keep things from falling out. And again, in case of a rollover or an accident, it'll help secure things, keep us all safe. Again, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging in there. There was a lot covered in this video. This project actually drug on a little bit. Quite a few pieces of this video, but glad you hung in there. Hit that like button, subscribe. We'll see you next time.